are so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burnin' Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Monday to you. I'm recording this on a Saturday morning, late kind of mid-morning. It's pretty warm, and it's not plumb hot yet, but I will say, fellas, these, and I guess ladies too, I don't know if they make them for ladies, I'm guessing so, I don't know, but these fishing shirts, the one I'm wearing is a Habit, got it from Thrifty Cowhand. They are not a sponsor of the show, but I do pretty much all my clothes shopping with them. They're good outfit, they're out of, I think, New Mexico somewhere, I don't know for sure, but Thrifty Cowhand's where I get them. These shirts are a game changer with all the vents and stuff. It's pretty nice. So that also helps, but it hasn't got just plumb hot yet, and it makes me glad I'm not in Phoenix today on this National Day of the Cowboy. If you've been listening very long, you guys kind of know my thoughts in general on these holidays. I'm not a big fan of these, like, National Day of the whatever. They're kind of dumb. But here we are, and I'm recording a podcast, a horseback on National Day of the Cowboy. I think I only did that one other time, and that was the first year that I started this thing, so here, why not? I'll participate in the dumb holiday, because it doesn't mean anything. Nobody really does anything for it. Like, people will post on social media, and that's neat. I enjoy seeing, posts from all over the country and the world. There'd be people from Canada that post, I'm sure, and Mexico and whatnot, but I don't know if it's a holiday over there. Probably not. And it's not really a holiday here. It's just like somebody declared it, and you don't get the day off or anything. Like, that's what they should do for National Day of the Cowboy, is just every working cowboy gets a day off to go to town and get rowdy. All expense paid, because if we're gonna celebrate the cowboy, what better way to celebrate the cowboy? You just send them to town, pay their ranch rodeo entry, and pick up their bar tab, and you should be good for a while. I mean, that'd be a hell of a hiring incentive for some of these places that are looking for a sure enough good hand. I mean, you're also going to attract some sure enough not good hands with that type of offer, but hey, you should be able to spot the gunsels from the good hands from pretty far off. So, use your best judgment, but I think it's a good way to celebrate the working cowboy on National Day of the Cowboy. Now, for all you rancher cowboys, like they're running your own cattle and stuff, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not the boss, I'm just a fucking hired guy. So that's for you to figure out, man. So somebody's got to ride these cattle, right? Somebody's got to take care of shit, and it's National Day of the Cowboy, so we can't, we got a rodeo to be to, or we got beer to drink in town and whatnot. But if you hustle up and you really put your just put your head down and get with it. You can get all your shit done and meet us in town later for a beer. Yeah, it's I guess I don't understand these holidays. It's just kind of, I guess it's just all symbolic. But anyways, it is cool to see different pictures, across Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. And some of them, are out just punching cows like they always do. And then there's people you're like, huh, I hadn't seen you on a horse since last year's National Day of the Cowboy. That's neat. Good for you. And yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, but I wanted to highlight once again. I did it. I think I did it earlier this winter, but I want to highlight the feedlot cowboys. I don't think we get enough recognition, and a lot of times we're not even considered real cowboys. We are the redheaded stepchildren of the cowboy world, and stepchildren might be a little too generous, like more like foster children. Like you're there, but nobody really wants you. But like somebody's getting paid to house you, so I mean, you kind of serve some purpose, I guess. But you're not really anyone's kid, and but you're still expected to work. God damn it. And yeah, you'll ride through more cattle in one day than most of your super punchers outside will see in a year. And then you'll ride through more cattle in a year than most guys who never come inside to work will see in a lifetime. I mean, you're always looking at cattle. Like there's just cattle as far as the eye can see, depending on how big your spread is. But even, it's funny, 10,000 head of mama cows is a pretty damn big ranch, That's a pretty respectable size. There's not a whole lot of ranches that run upwards of 10,000 head, but 10,000 head's a pretty small feedlot. That's on the, it's kind of on the higher end of a small feedlot, maybe. I would say, I always kind of go like under 25,000 is a small feedlot, and then from like 25 to say 70,000 is kind of a mid-sized feedlot, and then once you get upwards of 70,000, that's a real big feedlot. And I've worked at all three of them. I've worked at a really big one, I've worked at a kind of a mid-sized one, and then the one I'm at now is pretty small, but still, you're dealing with thousands of cattle every day, and they're in a dirty, enclosed environment, dry this time of year, really hot. It's in the hundreds again today, or not yet, but it will be. And luckily for us this time of year, we've got a lot of feed outside. There's a lot of grass over the hill in California, so not much reason to feed cattle in the yard right at the moment. But I bet you this winter we're gonna have a bunch. The cow herd's also pretty low right now, so I noticed a lot of empty pens in the driving that I did. The last time I've been back kind of in the beef belt, but you get some good moisture like we've had this year, and boy, those replacement heifers are going to be selling like hotcakes, and that cow herd will get built back up. Before you know it, it'll take a couple years, but in the meantime, we'll have some sure enough full pens here pretty soon, and then eventually it'll get dry again. So cattle will come in the feedlot, and we'll feed them, and we'll be busy as hell, and we still won't get any recognition because it's not a real cowboy job. You gotta see them wide open spaces. In the meanwhile, they talk about these 30-mile circles that some people make, and they'll see 3 cows on that 30-mile circle. And in the meantime, we're in about a half section, but we'll still cover 20 miles a day in a grid-shaped pattern. And most of it done at a walk, some of it at a trot, very little of it at a lope, and depending on your yard and how stupid the management is, you can't even lope at some of those places. Most of them you can't carry a rope. I'm one of the lucky few that can do all of the above. But it's it's kind of a thankless job for the most part. But you could always go get a job driving a tractor. It's an option if you choose to take it. But I don't know about you, but I am a damn farmer. I've drove tractor before and didn't like it. And I would rather ride pins in a little grid pattern in shitty weather than sit in an air-conditioned tractor day after day, letting the tractor steer itself with your GPS turned it into a giant robot. And and I would love to go trot over the next hill and see if there's any cows on the other side and make these big circles across big country. Hell, but it is, though, those jobs don't pay much of anything, and this deal here is it's a pretty good deal, if you don't mind getting made fun of every now and then for not working outside. And by outside I mean out in the big pastures and leases and whatnot, outside cattle. But no, we work inside the feedlot, but we're still outside in the elements all day, every day, and it's a hell of a lot hotter in a feedlot pen than it is out there on the grass, and it's a hell of a lot drier out there on the grass than it is in a muddy feedlot pen, even if we got the same amount of moisture in both places. So it's not an ideal climate, but it's a pretty ideal way to produce beef, get beef on the rail a lot quicker than they used to in the old days, where you were looking at like a 4-year-old steer going to slaughter. As now, 18 months is kind of your target, and it's better beef too. It's marbled, and it's a good way to provide high quality, cheap, or affordable beef, and it's good beef. There are people that'll tell you that the grass-fed stuff is better for you, the grass-fed, grass-finished. It's all labels. Most cattle, outside of your dairy cattle, they live most of their life on grass, and then they get fed on corn, corn-fed for the last several months of their life, and that's it. But vast majority of their life is spent outside on pasture eating grass. Not a whole lot of difference between that and a grass-finished steer, except for the texture and the flavor of the meat. And if you like the grass-fed stuff, more power to you. Have at it. Keep growing your shit. Everybody, it's still better than chicken. But I like corn-fed beef. It's pretty damn good. I don't know if the good Lord has come up with any sort of meat animal that's better than a corn-fed beef cow, as far as I'm concerned. So best way to get that product is feed them in a feedlot, and because it is a concentrated, dirty, not an ideal climate, you got to have guys riding through them every day and checking for health. And the more sick cattle that you pull on time, the less sick cattle you'll have overall. And it's you're kind of playing a delicate dance, because nobody likes antibiotics in their meat. It's not an ideal thing, so you try to use antibiotics only when necessary. And also, those medicines cost money. They're typically not cheap unless you get some of the older stuff. And yeah, it's not the easiest job on earth. It's not the hardest by any means, but it's not the easiest job on earth. And then when you get cattle that are having health problems all at the same time, shit can get pretty squirrely real quick, you know. And it doesn't take long. If you're not on your toes, you can have a real mess on your hands. So particularly when you're dealing with like southeastern Mexican high-risk cattle, it'll keep you on your toes for sure. So, you know, as I said, we don't get a whole lot of recognition, and that's fine. You don't need it, but for today, I'll give you a shouts out. I do this shit myself. I consider myself to be a cowboy because it's kind of on my pay stub. It's in the job description, and it may not be, you know, long trotting across thousands of acres of sagebrush. Instead, it's about 1,000 acres of dirt pens. We cover about the same amount of country overall. Total country, or total miles traveled is about the same as any of the big outside circle types. And I almost guarantee you we'll see more cattle than they will. And then we got to go do the same damn thing again tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day. For the most part, regardless of weather. With a few rare exceptions. But it's a tough job, and if it was a real easy job, everybody would do it, because it does tend to pay pretty decent. And yeah, there's no shame in it, and I quite enjoy it. And it also makes those few times when you get to go work outside and do some, you know, air quote, real cowboy shit. It makes those times even more fun, because don't get me wrong, cowboying outside is a lot better. But the pay is usually not there, like the feedlot is. So, anyways, yeah, this crazy cowboy world, it comes in all shapes and flavors, and it takes all types to put a pound of beef on your average person's dinner table. So I think we're a pretty vital link in that chain, and my hat's off to you on this National Day of the Cowboy. All you outside cowboys, well, you get enough recognition anyways. So happy National Day of the Cowboy to you too. But this one's for the feedlot fellers. So cheers to you. Have a good one. I've got some new stuff in my store. We got a couple new t-shirt designs. We got a koozie. I'm working on getting some hats designed, and they will be in the store shortly. So go check that out. That's burnin-daylight.com. The store is called The Supply House. So we've got a really cool design that Matt Wilson come up with. And it's called Taco Snatcher. And you can only imagine what it looks like. So go check it out on my website. Try to get that all up on Instagram as well here in the near future. But yeah, I think we're finally going to do something with this merch side of stuff, and I'm excited about it. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We got some cool episodes coming up. I'll be talking with Calamity Cass here tomorrow, and then I have Dave Stamey coming up next week as well, and I'm looking forward to both of those. So, and hopefully some pretty big names that you may have heard of before in the near future. I'll tease them. I won't tease anything out there as far as names goes yet, because I haven't heard back from anybody yet, but we will see, and I'm hopeful about it. So anyways, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you go check out all the other podcasts on the Burnin Daylight Network. We got Tuffy Gambles, you can't see him from the road, and you got Justin Stafford, Punchy Hunter, and then of course Jennifer Hill with the Black Hereford Chronicles. Keep tuning into that, support them, and If you'd like to support the show further, patreon.com/BurninDaylight's the best way to do it, or go buy a shirt. And on that note, I still got some more pins to ride, and yeah, I don't have much else to say, oddly enough. So y'all take care and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright, pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done